when you're 21 years old, it really doesn't matter what you look like because you're not going to look like that forever. And I think that she finally gets that.
Cool, cool, cool. What extremes do you think Deb will go to get married?
All of them. I think that she would probably like dive under an ice shelf in the Antarctic to find a dude. Yeah. Debbie would go to any extreme at this point to get married because she wears very rose-colored glasses. I think, looks at... There's a small group of us from college that we're all still friends. And I think that... And we're all married and we all have kids. So she looks at that as a missing thing in her life. And the rest of us that are on the East Coast that are, married and chubby with children, look at her as saying, oh my God, look how good she looks, look at the life she lives. So it's kind of like a grass is greener scenario, but she would do scary things to find a man. I think she's frozen eggs in case she doesn't find a man. But she would do some scary stuff.
Are you willing to help Deb in her search to find Mr. Right?
I've been trying for 18 years.
You have to rephrase it.
I have been trying for 18 years to help Deb find a man. But I think that she's actually at the point now where she could find one that actually might be good for her. And I think that would be an amazing thing for not only her, but everyone involved, because it's very exhausting. Very exhausting being a friend of single Deb.
I have probably about 8 more questions, so I'll try to get through it quickly, but
Okay.
it's like perfect. You're giving like great answers to everything. Do you think she needs help dating? Do you think she needs you to give her advice and be right next to her as she picks somebody?
I think that the greatest possible way for her to date would be for me to sit in one of those white, like, pedophile vans that hangs out in front of schools with, like, a microphone and just tell her what to say to get her through the first date. That would be the greatest possible scenario. But I actually think that the greatest way for this to work is for someone else to find someone for her. She needs help in finding someone that's worth what she is able to offer.
Great. And she talked to you about her concern about having children. What are your thoughts?
Oh yeah, Debbie has talked at length. So Debbie has a really good relationship with my little one. I have a 10-year-old stepdaughter as well that's with us half the time, that's always kind of loved Deb. Deb's always very good to her, around the holidays, gets her like hip things for Christmas that we wouldn't buy because we're not from Los Angeles. But she's got a very good relationship with, I have a 3-year-old, so my 3-year-old calls her Aunt Deb and calls her and sings songs in her voicemail and loves her to death. When my daughter had her first dance class, I sent pictures immediately to Deb because it matters. Those types of things matter to her. And I think that she sees that and sees, my kid and really, really wants her own. And she would be an outstanding mother. But she also recognizes the fact that she's now 36, 3 weeks ago. So, I think that she realizes that her time is ticking away. And, at 35, you're a high-risk pregnancy. So I believe, if she hasn't physically done it yet, I think that she's paid the money and hasn't gone to start the process of freezing eggs.
She had mentioned, I don't know if she did
I think it's a good idea that she's done that, because the last thing that you want to do is have a boyfriend and, get married and 3 days later get pregnant, because, I think the divorce rate for that is pretty darn high.
Right. What celebrity would you compare Deb to?
In terms of hot mess, Britney Spears. Actually, Debbie kind of looks a little bit like Britney Spears. Like, if Britney Spears was 36...
Sorry, I want to cut you off because you have to rephrase it.
Yeah. So if I was to compare Deb to a celebrity, she actually physically resembles Britney Spears a little bit. They're both dancers. They both are not, like, stick-thin ridiculous model-looking people. They're both blonde. Brittany's certifiably crazy. Debbie's just questionably crazy. So, yeah, I would say Britney Spears.
Can you say it again, but you used hot mess, and I love that.
I didn't hear you.
Can you re-say it again? You used hot mess the first time.
Yeah.
I liked it when you said that.
Okay. If I was to compare Deb to a celebrity, I would say Britney Spears. They kind of physically resemble each other. They're both built like dancers and actually, you know, have muscle tone to their bodies, and they're not stick thin. Deb's just as much of a hot mess as Britney. She's certainly dated people that look and act like Kevin Federline, so I would definitely go with Britney Spears.
And then, do you think she'll ever get married?
Yeah, so that's my fear. I think that Deb will get married. There's a toss-up. Deb one day is going to go to Vegas and meet somebody and either get married and then call us and let us know that it happened, or she's going to be the subject for like one of those CSI ripped from the headlines things where they find like a body like 7 months later and they don't know who it is. So one of those two things will happen to her in Vegas at one point in her life. I'm hoping neither, and that we can intervene and actually find her a dude before that happens.
Perfect. I have like 3 more questions.
Okay.
What is the craziest thing you have done with Deb? With the girls or you two or...
So you're not going to be able to air it because I'm pretty sure it will get both Deb and I sued.
Uh-oh. Now
So
I'm curious. Let me just think of plan B.
so craziest thing that Deb and I have ever done together. Deb, when Deb was on spring break her senior year of college, she walked up to Jerry Springer and said, "Hey, I'm looking for a job. I'm a communications major." Handed him like a card with like her name and phone number on it. And about a week later, she got a call from the executive producer offering her a job. It was the most ridiculous story. Ridiculous, like, nobody gets a job that way. I guess unless you're working for Jerry Springer. So she lived in Chicago for maybe 3 years. And she was an associate producer on the Jerry Springer show. And she was short a segment for a show one day. So she flew me out to Chicago to make up a story and be on Jerry Springer. So, yeah, I was on Jerry Springer in a love quadrangle with 2 very fat men and 1 very skinny man that I had never met before, and it was pretty fabulous. It was one of the high points of our friendship.
I love it.
But if you air that or give it to anybody, I'm pretty sure that I can be sued for the production value of that show.
I don't know how that would go, because, I mean, we could have rephrased it. We could do it again and rephrase it without using Jerry Springer's name and just say she worked for a talk show and she could see it, but we're going to keep that she works at a television probably out of it.
Okay. Craziest thing I've done that doesn't revolve Deb's career. Does anything involve the police? No. We did have Deb and I had a shore house for a week, right after college, when there were the 4 girls, our group of friends from college got a shore house, and Deb brought Trash Can Man to the shore house. So we definitely locked all of them out of the house for 2 days. So I'm pretty sure she slept in her car because we wouldn't let her in because she wouldn't come in without him. So that was pretty spectacular. We went to Disney World, and she insisted on wearing a handkerchief for a shirt, so our other friend Missy tossed her into the pool and refused to be seen with her. We have a long history of...
A question for you. What about her animals? Like, what do animals mean to her? Because I think we're going to be saying that she's like a vet tech, because she is. But,
That's so technical. She technically is.
yeah, well, I think she has a license or something. I don't know.
Yeah.